Hey YouTube, welcome back to another gun cleaning video. Today I have something that I absolutely love. This is the KelTec P50. This is probably one of my favorite new guns. If it looks a little bit weird, that is because it definitely is a very strange looking gun. It's definitely not something you're used to seeing, and I'm going to show you all about this in another video, but today I'm just going to break it down and clean this for you. And the first thing we need to do is make sure that the gun is safe, and as you can see right now by all these bullets inside there, this is not safe, so we need to get it into a safe state. First of all, we want to make sure that the safety is on. As long as it's back in this position here, then it will not fire. Well, I can't say will not fire. There's always a possibility. Always treat every firearm as if it's loaded and ready to go, no matter how safe you think it is. To open it up, all you have to do is pull down on this little thing here. You'll notice that once you hit it, it kind of stays locked open, but if you try to open it right now, it's definitely not going to open up. It's kind of one of the safety mechanisms on it. So what you have to do is you have to hold it down, even though it's just a little bit of wiggle. You have to hold that and then it pops open. And now you can take your magazine out or just let it slide out like that. Now, just because there's no magazine in here doesn't mean that this gun is safe. First thing I'm gonna do is get this far away from the gun while we're cleaning it. It does shoot 5.7x28 bullets. You can actually see those there. It's cool because in the magazine they're horizontal, and at the last second they end up getting flipped up to go in line with the firing chamber. Now, just like an AR, you could push on this little release here and you pull it back, and you can see that there is nothing in the firing chamber. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see down in there, but it is empty, and now this gun is safe to handle and clean. Now, as far as the breakdown process actually goes, you've already seen it. It's very simple. All you have to do is, again, you push down on this little release, top pops open. It'd be pretty awkward the way this thing is hinged to try to work on it as it is, but luckily for us, there's actually a way to further break it down just a little bit more. The way we finish this breakdown is by moving this little plate right here forwards this way. So what you're gonna have to do is pry this thing backwards, and then the whole thing should lift out. Now, I will say, the first time you do this, it can be very difficult. It can be wedged in there pretty good. So there's a little hole right there, and if you have any issues getting this, like if it's stuck, then you can actually put like a little screwdriver or something inside that hole, and that will allow this whole thing to move back freely. Once it's free and you've used this thing, broken it in a little bit, you can actually just use 2 fingers and pull back on this thing. You can actually see, I'll try to get a better angle of this, but basically you put 2 fingers, one on each side, and you just pull this back, and then the assembly should lift out just like this. It would be nice if there was some kind of a quick release pin or something here, because that would allow you to get access to the barrel a little bit easier. The barrel is fixed in the top of this here, so there is no real easy way to get to it. So when you're working with this, you kind of got to maneuver this thing around and get into these small areas. So that is kind of one of the downfalls of it, but it's not the end of the world. Now that I've got it apart, I'm just going to take a gun cleaning pad and apply a little bit of oil to it. And we're just going to oil things up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give everything just a little light coating, because anything that's metal can rub against other metal pieces, and eventually it can cause issues for you. I'd rather not run into any issues, so I'm going to make sure that everything is as clean and oiled as possible. But again, I'm just giving everything a nice light coating. Once you start using this firearm a lot, you're going to notice certain wear patterns. You're going to notice shiny spots. Anytime you see any shiny spots, make sure to give it extra love and attention when you're cleaning. A little bit of extra oil goes a long way, especially something like this that you're going to want to have for a long time. You're not just going to want it to go and rust apart on you and have any other issues. If you're buying a firearm, you want it to be reliable. I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but technically this is a pistol. It's a very weird looking pistol, but it is technically, in fact, a pistol. It is the P50 pistol, and even though it has this little rail in the front, if you mount any type of foregrip to it, now you've got an issue with the ATF. Do not do that. Anytime you mount any type of vertical or angled grips or anything that gives you a second hand is no longer considered a pistol, and you can get in a lot of trouble for doing that. So don't do things like that. Again, I'll mention that more in the actual review of the gun, but for now, this is just the teardown and cleaning. So now that we've got these 2 parts cleaned, we're done with that, and now we just need to run something through the barrel to make sure it is cleaned. Now, when it comes to cleaning this, it is technically a 22 caliber round. The reason I mention that is because when it comes to getting into the barrel, you need to have a tip that's small enough to actually get in there. Now, like I said, this is kind of the awkward part where you need to insert it through the tip. Now, since it is a pistol, you can use a pistol cleaning kit. So this here is a pistol cleaning kit. You just have to make sure that you get the right size tip on it, which this one I know fits through 22. It is definitely a very tight fit. In fact, you might even want to cut your pads a little bit to make sure that they fit a little bit better, because it is a very snug barrel. A lot of these cleaning kits, while they'll work for this, they can be a little bit of a pain. And then also, you know, if you want to run it through both ways, now you got to awkwardly maneuver this back part and try to get it in through the back end here. So it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to work with. Now, every now and then I will just come back here with the cleaning tool, try to get it into the cracks, just make sure there's no dirt or debris kind of getting accumulated in the back end here. And other than that, there's really not too much else you need to do on here. So for now, that's about as clean as it's going to get. Now, reassembling is a little tricky. Make sure that the little release part goes on the side with the little notch cut out on the top there. So that just kind of goes back up here. You can kind of clip that back into place. It holds itself in for the most part. It will wiggle around and wiggle loose if you're not careful. But if you line it up, it should allow you to get everything back together. Now, these two little metal poles, there's two holes on the front end here that plugs into. And once that's in there, you simply just have to push back on this little mechanism again and then let it go. Like I said, the first time you use this, you're probably going to freak out thinking, what the heck, this thing's not moving, it's solid. And that's because from the factory, they really, for whatever reason, it gets stuck in there, and maybe even after firing, it gets stuck in there a little bit. So if you ever have any issues getting it loose, all you have to do is grab, you know, a little screwdriver, get it inside here, and just kind of pry it a little bit, maybe turn it. Because once you get it out, it's super simple to get out after that. So remember that. If you're having problems getting this gun apart, remember to use some leverage in that little hole. And as far as reassembly goes, that's it. You can put it back together, run the action through a few times, make sure that everything feels nice. Again, if you ever see any shiny spots on the inside, make sure to oil those up. But that is the cleaning of this video, and it's super simple. Again, there's really not many parts to this thing, which is nice because when it comes to tearing it down, it does make it a lot easier. The only thing I might say is you might have to invest in a smaller cleaning tool, just because it is 22 caliber and it's very tight tolerances on this thing. If you do have problems, like I said, if you cut the patches a little bit, it'll make it a little easier to run through there. But that is it. That is the end of the video. Hopefully you guys learned something here. If you have any more questions, let me know. If you want to learn more about this, check out the gun review video. And as far as cleaning goes, we're done. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like, and I will see you in the next video.